Hey folks, my name is Mike. The reason I'm here today is because we're putting on an event for our Pacific Trail Cub Scouts that are specifically working on the Arrow of Light rank right now. And we're putting on this event. It's going to be called the Troop Discovery Night. And it's something that we've never done before. And we've never done it before because we've never had this kind of a crazy pandemic before. So let me explain this a little bit. I'm going to share my screen with you as we go at times, so you don't have to look at me all the time. Fundamentally, what we're doing here is we usually have what's this event called Weebelow's Woods every year. It's a really exciting event that has a lot of cool stuff. Like you get to come as a Weebelow's or Arrow of Light Scout out to a council property. You get to go camping with your family or your den or both. You get to learn scout skills and you get to meet local troops so that you can know when you get around to choosing a troop, which troop you want to join. And unfortunately, because of this silly virus we're experiencing right now, we have not had the ability to host a Weebelow's Woods event. And we're very sad, and hopefully we'll be able to get back to doing things like this in the future. But it's just where we're at today, right? And the thing is that we still want to help our Cub Scouts find a troop to join as the next 4 or 5 months progress. You're going to be finishing up your Cub Scouting career, if you will. You're going to be earning the Arrow of Light, and you probably really want to find a troop to join because Cub Scouting is just the beginning, guys and gals. I promise you, this is just the appetizer on the main course. So we're going to do the best we can with an event that we're doing over Zoom, and it's not ideal, but it's kind of what we got. And we're going to bring a bunch of troops together to tell you what they are all about. Now, my job as your traffic control officer is to make sure that you get to visit the troops that you want to visit. And that's one of the reasons why I'm making this video for you today. How's it going to work? This isn't a normal Weebelow's Woods where you get to go up and down, let's say, the road at Camp Merriweather and visit every single troop for an hour and do fun stuff like building fires and shooting BB guns and archery and all that stuff. This is going to be very focused and very directed at you and your opportunity to get to know local troops. So every troop is going to have a special room, a breakout room in this Zoom call. We're all going to gather, and I'm going to kind of go over some of the things I'm already talking about here, and I'm going to do it very briefly for those people that don't watch this video, which doesn't give you an excuse to come late, I promise. There might be some last minute things. So we're going to go over this, and you, as we go through this process, get to talk to any troop that you want to, any troop that you know that you might want to join, any troop that you want to visit and know more about. Each troop should tell you about what they're all about. They might be able to show you some photos, tell you some stories, give you an idea of what they do on a regular basis. And that can be very helpful for you to understand if that's the troop that you really do want to join. And you also get to ask questions. And I'm going to come around to this in a second. I have some really good suggestions, I hope, for you and for your caring adult, whether it's your parent or grandparent or a guardian, for you to ask these questions of the troops, to ask if you are a good fit and if you are going to feel like this is your home, because that's really what this is all about, folks. This is about you as a Cub Scout finding that one place where you feel like, oh, I could be a part of this family and do it for 7-8 years. And that's truly what this is all about. Mechanically, how is this going to work? When we're done doing the intro thing, what we're going to do is we're going to shuffle all of our troop members off into each of their individual breakout rooms. So we have about 40 troops here in Pacific Trail District, and I hope they all show up. I really do. And they're going to have 40 different breakout rooms, and they're all going to have their own little space so they can have a nice, simple conversation with folks like you and your Cub Scouts working on the Arrow of Light and their parents or grandparents or caring adult, right? And you're going to have a chance to ask questions and learn about what the troop's all about. And then when you're done, you get to click that Leave Breakout Room button and come back to what I call the lobby, where we're going to be in for the intro. And I'll shuffle you to the next troop, and you can go visit the next troop, and on and on and on. And we'll probably have a chance to have you visit at least 3 or 4, maybe even 5 different troops throughout the evening. It's going to be maybe an hour and 15 minutes long total. If we can get each and every one of our Cub Scouts through 4 troop visits, I would be stoked. That would be awesome. And As a quick note, if during the call you get bumped out, if your internet freaks out a little bit, or if you accidentally press leave the meeting, just come on back in, rejoin the Zoom call. It's fine. You should already have a Zoom link to this, by the way. Okay. Uh, Let me take a sidetrack really quickly, and this is both for our Cub Scouts and their caring adults that want to know, what is this troop thing all about, especially if you don't have like an older sibling in a troop, or if your mom or dad or grandma and grandpa or aunt and uncle don't have a lot of experience with what it is to be in a BSA troop. The big differences between a troop and a pack are leadership. And you're going to hear a lot about youth-led, scout-led kind of organizations, and this is really important. It's Scouts get to choose what they do, when they do it, and where they go, and all that kind of stuff. And what you'll find is that the adult volunteers get to step back and make sure that everything's safe, make sure that all the bills get paid, make sure that we have all the permits we need to do what we want to do. That's the adult job. And there's a little bit of guidance in there as well. And it's really a lot different than in a Cub Scout pack, where you're assigned a den leader, you're assigned a Cub master, and you just kind of learn from them and do what we're doing right now, right? We're going to go to this thing and go to the zoo or whatever it is. Being a part of a troop is an entirely different experience, and it's really exciting and really fun. Instead of being a part of a den, you're going to be a part of a patrol, one member of a patrol. And in a lot of ways, dens and patrols are similar. They're groups of youth members that are, usually a similar size, somewhere between like 4 and 12, usually. 12 is pretty big, 4 is pretty small. But the important thing is that the important difference is that a den is usually made up of youth that are all the same-ish age. A patrol, in different troops, different patrols come in all shapes, sizes, colors, flavors, all kinds of different permutations. And it can be youth of all the same age. It can be the youth of all different ages. There can be mixtures of these within a troop. And I'm going to talk a little bit about questions that you might ask about how a patrol works different than a den. Advancement in a troop is very different than advancement in a pack. And you're probably familiar, if you've been a part of your pack for more than a couple years, that you come together, usually in your den, and you work on advancements month over month, week over week, and every year you earn the next rank advancement, right? It's kind of like being on a conveyor belt a little bit. And now we're doing this rank, and off we go. Advancement at the troop level is very self-directed. If you want to blaze the trail and charge down that path, and you have your eye on Eagle Scout and you want to earn that in like 3 years, by golly, go do it, because you can. If you want to join and you're like, I'm not really sure, I'd like to earn first class, but we'll see what happens after that, and you kind of take it as I'll do it when I feel like it, that's cool too. And there was a scout when I was a youth that never made it past second class because all he wanted to do was go camping. That's fine. It's kind of what you make of it. And the best way that this was explained to me by a fellow scout volunteer was that a good troop, in a really well-run troop, a scout is a self-propelled advancement object. They decide how fast they want to go and where they want to go. And you get to choose a lot more of what you get to learn as you go through the troop program as well. You get to choose what merit badges and interests and things you want to explore. Okay, so another interesting thing that's a difference between a Cub Scout pack and a troop is that when you are doing your scouting right now, most of what you're doing in terms of learning, whether it be knots, lashings, first aid, outdoor stuff, you're probably learning that from your den leader or maybe your Cub master or something like that. Or maybe there's a guest that comes to some of your den meetings, right? You're learning from an adult primarily. In a troop, you're going to learn almost exclusively, especially initially, from older youth members, more experienced youth members, especially when it comes to things like scout skills, using a map and a compass, doing first aid, knots and lashings, all these, it's a whole host of these things, cooking, cleaning, setting up a tent. The hallmark of a good scouting program is older, more experienced youth teaching the younger, newer scouts how to do these things. And look for that. Look for those things especially when you visit a troop. Hopefully you'll have a chance to visit troops as we go on. And one of the other big things that is a big difference between a troop and a pack is outdoors stuff. Going outside, having an outdoor program, and camping is an absolute keystone to a good scouting program within a troop. Listen for the words, "We go camping all year long, all year round, every month." That's the kind of thing you want to hear. And I hope that you do hear that from all the troops that you visit. In a Cub Scouting, we usually go camping, summer camp, and then maybe once or twice throughout the year, depending on your pack, depending on your den. Troops, you're going to get to go outside and do a lot of really cool stuff. So what I'm going to ask you, and what I want you to think about is about the troops that you want to visit this evening in this event that we're doing, whether you're coming on Tuesday or Wednesday. My challenge is to sort you each into different troops that you want to visit. And the important thing is that if you are a Cub Scout in Gaston, I don't want to send you to a troop in East Beaverton. It doesn't make sense. And vice versa, right? If you're a Cub Scout over in Bethany, I'm not going to send you to a troop to visit over in North Plains. It's probably not going to work very well. So geography is important. Where are you? I'm working on some solutions to that so that when I know what pack you come from, I can sort you a little bit easier, but I want you to think about it too. You also need to know that I'm going to sort you by gender. We have troops that serve young ladies and troops that serve young men. And so I'm going to have you do some things to help me, especially if your name is Terry or Pat or something like that, where I don't know, obviously, if you are identified as a male or female, you're going to help me with that. We'll get to that in a second. You might also look at troops that fit your family schedule. Our troops meet on different days of the week throughout the week. And if you have, say, Taekwondo on Wednesday evening, and that is really important to you, you might look at when the troops meet. And if they meet on Wednesday, well, are you willing to readjust your schedule, your whole family's schedule, to go and do scouting with that troop? Maybe you are. Maybe that's a deal breaker. That's up to you and your family, of course. You might think about, for your pack, especially if you've been in your pack for a while, are there troops where your pack often sends scouts to? Because if that's the case, you might want to visit them. You'll probably go recognize people that have been part of your pack before that are still part of the troop. And that's kind of cool. It's always familiar to see folks that you recognize that maybe were a couple years older than you. And, oh, yeah, they told that funny joke about whatever at the pack meeting 3 years ago. That's one thing to think about. Another thing to think about is maybe you want to visit a troop that you've never heard of before. Maybe there's a troop right down the road at that church that is always departing for a camping trip on Friday night or Saturday morning, and they're all in the parking lot. And you're like, oh man, I want to know more about that troop. That's a great troop to go visit. This is a fantastic time to take that opportunity to see what that troop is all about. And you also might want to think about, and this is a kind of a bigger question, but you might think about whether you think for you a big troop is the right answer, or a small troop, or a medium-sized troop, because we have all variations on a size, theme, and all that kind of stuff. And so be thinking about that. Do you want to fit into a small troop and be a bigger part of that, or do you want to be in a bigger troop or whatever? And we can probably help with that. Questions that you might want to ask. This is very specific for Tuesday evening and Wednesday evening, whichever one you come to, or both. You might definitely ask, how often does your troop go camping? Like I said before, the best answer is we go all the time, every month, as best we can. Yes, in this time, in this virus-laden world we're living in right now, it is really hard to go camping every month. But so have a little grace, a little forgiveness for that. But if they say in normal times we go camping every month, that is the best answer. And that's what you're looking for, because you want chances to go out and do fun stuff out in the wilderness. You might ask, what does the phrase scout-led or youth-led mean in your troop? And any good troop could be able to talk about that for about half an hour or more, what scout-led means and how they do it. And every troop does it a little bit differently, how they elect leaders, how they do, advancement stuff and things like that. You might ask about what special traditions their troop has. As an example, my troop as a youth had a tradition every year in August. We did a whitewater rafting trip for 4 days down the Deschutes River from Maupin to Madras. And it was just a tradition that we had every year. It was really cool. You might, some troops go and do Philmont on a regular basis. Some troops go do a lot of backpacking. They're all variations on a theme. And there's, again, really no wrong answer on this one. You could definitely ask questions about how the troop is funded. Are there fundraising opportunities? Are there corporate sponsorship dollars that come in? And that might matter, that might not matter to you. Another good one, speaking of high adventure opportunities, is how often does your troop do high adventure? Have you been to Philmont recently? Have you done Sea Base? Have you done Northern Tier? Do you send scouts to National Jamboree or World Jamboree often? These are great questions to ask, just to get an idea of if you want to experience those things. And if you're really in this to learn about leadership skills and teamwork, you might also ask about traditions within the troop for advanced leadership training. NYLT is something that's done within our council, and NAIL, N-A-Y-L-E, is a national leadership training thing. It's really cool. Okay, so what I'm going to do, and this is a slide I'm going to show you. I'm going to show you all these slides on Tuesday, but this one is specifically I'm going to leave up for a while. I'm going to ask everybody to change their name in Zoom. And we're going to do this so that you can help me. And I want you to think about this. This is one of the reasons I'm making this video, so you can think about what troops you want to visit and what your name is going to be on the Zoom call, because this is going to help me move things along quicker, okay? I want our Cub Scouts to rename themselves in Zoom, and I want you to do it in this fashion. I want your first name to be the first thing. I want your last name to be the second thing. And I do really want to know what Cub Scout pack you come from. So after your last name, put a space, of course, and then P, whatever your pack number is. That's going to help me use my magic decoder ring to understand where you're at and what troops you're likely to want to go to. If you are male or female, I also do want to know that, because a lot of our troops, I'll show you this in a second, have a linked troop structure. And if your name is Terry or Pat or something like that, it's really hard for me, especially if your video is off. I might have a hard time knowing where to send you. So I do need to know that. So please put an M if you identify as a young man, and put an F right after your pack number if you identify as a young woman. If you know of a troop that you really want to visit, put a space and then a T and then the troop number you want to visit. This is going to help me, again, move things along quickly. And then that'll give me a chance to say, oh, okay, I'll ship, you right off to that troop first thing. And then when you're done with them, we'll come back and maybe you'll rename yourself to a next troop number or whatever. If you don't know which troop you want to visit, that's okay. Just leave that T part off. Just stop with your first name, your last name, your pack, the pack number, P123, and then a gender identifier right there so I know where to send you. You can do that by clicking the rename button, which should be right next to your name on the participants tab. I hope this is accurate. I know Zoom has changed their interface just a little bit over the past few months. Okay, so this is an important slide. I'm going to leave this up for a little while I talk over it. This is my best effort at sort of clumping troops together by geography. And what you'll see is kind of start out west in the Gaston Banks area. And I have some troops over there. North Plains, there are a couple to choose from depending on where you're from. Forest Grove, Cornelius, getting into West Hillsborough, then East Hillsborough. And all these are just numbers, right? And this doesn't tell you the characteristic of each troop or anything like that, but it gives you an idea of the units that you might want to visit on Tuesday or Wednesday evening. The units in black are units that have linked troops, where there is both a troop for young women and a troop for young men. So if that's important to you, and you say you are a young woman and you're looking to join a troop, which is awesome, make sure you pick the black ones so I can send you to a troop that has that serves females. The troops that are in sort of that blue color, that's the default, are troops that only have service for young men, that only serve young men, and there are a variety, of course. If you live out west, the troops for young ladies get a little bit more sparse, as we have just more troops in the east side, It's more dense. So yeah, I'm sorry. It's just kind of what we got. So look over this list when you have a chance and think about the troops that you've heard of before, and maybe even the troops you haven't heard of before. Have I seen that number around? Do I know what they're all about? Do I know somebody from that troop? Do I know somebody who went to that troop? And sort of put together maybe a wish list of 2 or 3 troops that you'd like to visit. That would be a great way to do this. I also want to encourage each of you to, if you have your caring adult, your mom, dad, grandma, grandpa, your guardian, whatever, they're looking over your shoulder, sitting next to you, whatever it is, take notes as you go. Take pencil, paper, whatever, and jot down ideas that you have and thoughts on each troop. What strikes you as interesting? What strikes you as great? What it was like to discuss these things with these people, because you might forget as this whole thing progresses, and even an hour later you might kind of be thinking back of, oh, what troop number was that we visited that did that one thing. It's a good thing to take notes. So I encourage you to do that, and please do bring with you a caring adult if at all possible, whether it's your mom, your dad, your grandma, your grandpa, an aunt and uncle, or just some other caring adult, a guardian or person that you hang out with a lot. It's important that we have not just you as a Cub Scout, but sort of another person to make sure that everything's cool. And that's kind of an important aspect of this. So if at all possible, please do bring an adult with you. This is for all the Cub Scouts out there. Thank you. I really do hope to see each and every one of you on either Tuesday or Wednesday, or maybe both days. If you come Tuesday and you're like, oh man, I want to go talk to more troops, come on back on Wednesday. We're open for business, folks. The great thing about this is that you get to stay in your home, you get to stay safe, you get to be comfortable and I hope warm. You don't have to go out and get wet, as we often do at Weeblos Woods. It's usually a kind of a wet experience. And you get to know what these troops are all about, and hopefully it will help inform you on what troops you would like to join. And I really hope that each troop that you visit at this event invites you to come to an event of theirs in the future. That would be ideal. They may or may not have something coming up, and with the lockdown that we're looking at over the next 2 or 3 weeks, it's going to be really challenging. So please keep that in mind. Thank you for watching this little video. I really appreciate it. I hope it's been useful for you, and I very much look forward to seeing each and every one of you, I hope, on Tuesday and or Wednesday evening. Have a great time, and we'll see you there.